Welcome to the show, everybody. My name is Mark Farzana. This is the Farzy Show presented by MyBookie, mybookie.ag. It's just lovely to have you along for the ride. Oh, my goodness gracious. The Eagles win a football game 20-16 over the Cleveland Browns. Cooper Jean looks like the real deal. Now, one game, of course, does not make a career. But one of the things I was looking forward to going into this game was Quentin Mitchell being on the field and continuing to be awesome during his rookie campaign. And then the Eagles getting a little bit of a difference maker at the nickel position. And Avonte Maddox, friend of the show, love the guy. However, the football play has been subpar, as we all know. So Cooper DeJean comes in and gets the start. And he looks every bit the role. What do I always say during preseason? Just look like you belong. That's the first step of being a professional. Just look like you belong. Don't look like a guy that, is really in over his head, a guy that has made a huge leap from college to the pros and really having trouble even treading water. We didn't get to see that in the preseason with Cooper DeJean. So throughout the year, we've seen little spurts of like, oh, he's on the field. He's healthy. Oh, now he feels all caught up. Well, he gets a opportunity to start, and he makes the most of the opportunity. It took a minute for A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts to get on the same page, but once they did, things looked pretty damn good. It took a while to get Devontae Smith to go across the middle in this game, and when they finally got that going, and that's something that I always hear from Derek Gunn and Seth Joyner during our broadcasts there for pre and post. I always hear them talking about it in the green room about send somebody across the middle, send somebody across the middle. Where's that drag route? And then they start using it, and it works to perfection. Eagles, unfortunately, do have some negative in this game. So hold on. Let me pause it right there. For the record, that was me opening with happiness. That was me opening with positivity. And it's not even positivity. Let me say this. I never look like, okay, what's the most negative take I could have? Or what's the most positive Paulie Pom-Poms take I could have? I let the game play out, and I break it down from there. There were some great things when we talk about this Eagles defense. There were some things that the offense eventually figured out in this game. However, two things that Jalen Hurts didn't turn the football over. I wish I wasn't as excited as I was and as I am about that. But the fact that we have seen so many turnovers from Jalen Hurts, 24 going into this game, dating back to last year, obviously. And the fact that we didn't even see him put as I like to say, the precious pigskin in peril once in this game, that was great. Building blocks. I'll use Seth Joyner's term. Baby steps. This game was baby steps. And if you're looking to be as optimistic as possible, then you can look at this game and say, all right, they didn't play great, but they won the game. I am really going to try to stay away, from phrases like that because I remember saying that way too many times last year. But they didn't play great. They found a way to win. They didn't play great. They found a way to win. But there was some good things in this game. Unfortunately, the bottom line is you beat the horrible Cleveland Browns by 4 points. The defense was great. Kept them out of the end zone. The only touchdown they had was on the blocked field goal, and that play was incredible. And Myles Garrett is a freak amongst men. Oh, my God. And I mean that in every complimentary sense you could have. Rodney McLeod, of course, seeing him come back, that one stung a little bit. But this defense played great. Defense was phenomenal yesterday. And to Nick Sirianni's point after the game, when you talk about slow starts, don't include the defense in that because they had a phenomenal start and a phenomenal finish to this game. They had every single answer. And if they didn't, the Browns are the Browns, and they shot themselves in the foot. For instance, a first and goal from the 8, and they get nothing. Well, they get 3 points, but they don't get in the end zone again. The negative, unfortunately, is a huge headline in this. And let's talk about the most important thing before we even get to anything with Nick Sirianni. The negative is you beat the Browns by 4 points. The negative is you were favored by 8.5 points. Now, what did I tell you before on Friday? I told you I did not like the Eagles covering. I did not see them covering. I did not think they were a good enough football team yet to cover even against a bad football team. But my request was, prove me wrong. Prove a lot of the naysayers wrong. Even the people like myself who were picking the Eagles to win this game. Prove us right. Say, you know what? Go ahead, cover. All right. Let's use that line just as a line of demarcation. Win by 8.5 points, win by 9 points, whatever. Going into the weekend, it was 9.5 points the Eagles were favored by. Went down to 8.5 before kickoff. So 8.5 points, fine. Win a double-digit game. The Eagles have now gone, I believe it's 20 games where they haven't won a game by more than, 14 games where they haven't won by more than 10 points. You got to go all the way back to the Miami Dolphins game of last year. So it's been a minute since they really controlled a game. If you want to say a 10-point victory is controlling the game. But they certainly didn't do that, unfortunately. I wanted them to. I would have loved for them to do that. I heard a lot of people saying, 2-touchdown win for the Eagles. Didn't see it. Nothing that I saw from the Eagles in the first 4 weeks, first 4 games of the season, even with A.J. Brown, made me think that the Eagles were going to win this game wire to wire, in control, never going to feel like they were going to lose control or anything like that. This was a game where, look, all of a sudden a blocked field goal, and it's a tie game. That's not control. That's not certainly not 2 scores or anything like that. So all of a sudden it was tied at 10-10 after that. So that's the number one thing. The most important thing, the way they played, the score, only beat them by 4 points. That's not exactly full control of the victory. Having said all that, Nick Sirianni was one cocky SOB after beating the Browns by 4 points. This guy's acting like they just beat the 85 Bears after the game. The jawing back and forth with fans. I don't know what was said. I listened to player interviews afterwards. Nobody really gave good insight on it. I'll let you hear from Nick Sirianni after the game, and he just said he was excited about the win. Apparently, players have been nudging him to have more fun on the sidelines, to be himself. We need you back, Nick. Ugh. So Nick Sirianni, you saw it on Fox, going back and forth with the crowd, whatever that was about. Here's what it absolutely looked like. It looked like Nick Sirianni being excited that the Eagles won, and fans probably, what I would guess, something along the lines of, you still suck. I don't know if it went as far as you should still be fired. I don't know. And Nick putting his finger to his ear, be like, huh? Hark? What was that? Apparently, Dom DeSandro, Big Dom, had to, according to Eric Gunn, pull Nick Sirianni away from it, being like, dude, knock it off. This is not helping anyone. So Nick, mum was more or less the word during his post-game press conference on what exactly went down, other than saying he just got excited and he was happy that they won the game. And I don't know if you guys know this or not. This is breaking news from Nick Sirianni. It's hard to win in the NFL. You guys aware of that? I didn't know that. No one's ever said that before. And I always thought it was just easy to win in the NFL, but apparently it's not easy to win in the NFL. It doesn't look good. And Nick Sirianni saying the thing after the game about how booing the team, I don't know, we hear it, we don't necessarily like it, and don't know how productive that is for anybody. Well, here's the deal. Booing is our opportunity to show accountability or put the accountability on display. Because oftentimes we hear Nick Sirianni talk about accountability. And 2 weeks ago, he was talking about how we, or media, fans don't see what goes down at the NovaCare complex with how accountable Nick Sirianni keeps these players. Because apparently behind the scenes, Nick Sirianni is a real hard ass. Here's the way I think this plays out. Now, first off, I don't want to see that from Nick Sirianni. I don't mind emotion. But if you're going to go back and forth with fans, the fans are undefeated. Like, do people realize this? The fans are undefeated. And by the way, after the Eagles won, and I try to, just look around the league, obviously, as you do as well, obviously, and I want to see what else was going on. And I saw on Sports Center, they put together that 2-minute drill, whatever it is, where they go around to big plays, not top 10 or anything like that, but just key things from the game. The only thing they showed from the Eagles game yesterday? I'm sorry. The only thing they showed from the Eagles yesterday? It wasn't the game. Not a play, not a highlight featured Philadelphia Eagles. No touchdown pass to Devontae Smith. Not one of what has been credited right now with the Eagles is 5 sacks. Okay? Not one of those. Nothing from the game. Not the game. They were talking about a press conference, man. A press conference, man. That's what they were talking about. And it was Nick Sirianni talking about Philly fans booing. Like, we're still doing this. This is what is going to get the attention in the national stage. I get why here in Philly, why it'd be talked about a little bit. But on the national stage, the Eagles win. They improve to 3-2 on the season. Washington loses. The Giants lose in Sunday Night Football. The Cowboys get blown out. There are full highlights of that game. And that was, by the way, a lot more fun to watch than the Eagles game yesterday. But the thing that gets highlighted was Nick Sirianni talking about Philadelphia fans booing. Well, if social media has taught us anything, it's that all fan bases can become a tad bit restless. But that gets talked about yesterday with Nick Sirianni and all that stuff on the national stage. So cool, all right? It's a little, that part of it is a little frustrating. And again, when you boo, I feel like every single athlete should take it exactly as Malcolm Jenkins has taken it when he was playing here, which is, yeah, I would have booed us too. We were playing terrible. We weren't playing well. That's all it is. It's fans being frustrated. Now, if fans were taking personal shots with Nick Sirianni, it's still not a good look, but I can understand why you'd want to say something. Outside of, you should still be canned or anything like that. And again, we don't know what was said, but it's still a horrible look. And as far as booing not being productive for anyone, well, that's the only way we can call a team out. As a fan base. I mean, yeah, sure, some people could get on social media and say some stuff directed at players, whether that's because they're Eagles fans or because they got, Dallas Goedert on their fantasy team or something. But that's the only real way a fan base can hold their team accountable and show that they are displeased. And Eagles fans still very much have reason to be displeased, especially when it comes to horrendously slow starts by this Eagles offense. Defense, you're cool. Everything else needs a lot of work. And look, this was, as we went into this game for me was a get-right game. I call it a prove-it game. Prove that you're that much better than the Browns. When I look at games like this where you're clearly playing against an opponent that is a fringe NFL team, like the Browns right now, prove that you're that much better. Well, you're 4 points better. 4 points. And I know you can quibble over, how they score their touchdown and all. No, defense was great. Don't get me wrong. Defense was great. I expected a lot more from this Eagles offense, and you did not get a lot more from this Eagles offense. You got, unfortunately, just enough. That's what you got. 2 touchdowns. That's what you got. That's similar to what the Giants did, and it's a far cry than what the Washington Commanders did against this Cleveland Browns team a week ago. And the numbers, unfortunately, especially in the running game, I was expecting more from the running game. The Commanders ran for 215 yards. We talked about this yesterday, the 5 things I was looking at in this game, or talked about this Friday, the 5 things I was looking at this game. The Commanders ran for 215 yards at 6.3 yards per carry. Eagles offense was around 2 yards per carry. And that includes Jalen Hurts' tush pushes, sure, but scrambles as well. So that's not exactly a great look. And Saquon Barkley also in that mix at under 3 yards per carry. That ain't great. Eagles needed to make some plays. They made some plays. Was it a controlled game again? No, obviously it was not. Before we get to Nick Sirianni, let you guys hear from all the stuff that went on there. Make sure you guys hit like and subscribe on the Farzy Show YouTube channel. Make sure you hit like and subscribe on the Jacob Media YouTube channel. Make sure you hit like and subscribe on the Seth Joyner Show YouTube channel as well, where Seth, me, and Derek Gunn break it all down for you for your pre- and post-game needs right over there. And also, for the 76ers season coming up, make sure you guys like and subscribe to the Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Also, our friends Harry Mays and Jason Martinez have you covered for Eagles coverage right there on Locked On Sports Philadelphia. But I'll have you covered for the Sixers. Thanks again for all the support you guys gave us during the Philly season. Much appreciated. So smash the like buttons and the subscribe buttons on all of that. All right. 5 things I look at from this game. On the positive side, again, the number one thing that jumped out to me was Cooper DeJean. You always hear athletes talk about taking advantage of that opportunity. Cooper DeJean took advantage of that opportunity. And I loved that every time you saw a play being made, Either Cooper DeJean was right there making the play, or Cooper DeJean was right around the ball. He just has a nose and an instinct for the ball. And I can't believe, like, if you go through, like, the Sidney Joneses of the world or whatever, right? And you think about players that Howie Roseman has drafted to play quarterback, and you've looked at him and like, not really impressed here. Quayon Mitchell looks like a home run pick. Going into this game, I looked at Cooper DeJean and I said, could it possibly be, with as coveted as he was in the draft, with the Eagles being aggressive to get him, could it be possibly that Howie went 2 for 2 with taking corners? This is pretty amazing. And last year, we saw the Eagles have some issues at the safety position. This year, the Eagles seem to have some issues with the safety position when it comes to Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, of course, did not allow a touchdown in this game. So Jalen Hurts didn't turn the football over. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson didn't give up a touchdown. So that's a step forward. But Sidney Brown going to be back playing before you know it. This Eagles secondary, from the first 4 games of the season for the rest of the season, could look and hopefully play a hell of a lot better. Darius Slay went down with a knee injury in this one, a re-aggravation. We'll see what's going on there. See if all of a sudden Cooper DeJean is going to be playing on the outside. See if Keely Ringo is going to be playing on the outside. Cooper DeJean stays on the inside. Oh, my goodness, what could happen? But Cooper DeJean has me feeling pretty optimistic about the way this Eagles secondary could be going. It's going to start with, obviously, the play of Quayon Mitchell. Then, of course, the play of Cooper DeJean now as the slot corner. Maybe Keely Ringo takes over on the outside. Maybe they bump Cooper DeJean out there. We'll see. Maybe you even see a change at the safety position between Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. Maybe you see a difference with Reed Blankenship, who's the only guy that's picking the ball off, although unfortunately the last 2 games, his tackling hasn't been great. But is also the only guy that, again, is taking the football away. But maybe Sidney Brown gets a slot in there. We'll see how that plays out. But it all starts with the fact that you saw another corner, another defensive back come in to play and looked every bit ready for the moment. Got credited with half a sack in this game. Love to see that. And again, was all over the ball. There was one point where he kept stride for stride as well with Jerry Jeudy on the outside, helping to prevent a touchdown. That was great to see. So number one thing I look at, Cooper DeJean, phenomenal start to your career, son. Number 2, Jalen Hurts not turning the football over in this game that cannot be talked about enough. Again, you talk about going back to last year, 19 turnovers, 5 this year. Didn't do it in this game. And the fact that there was not one throw, there was not one play where I watched Jalen Hurts and I went, oh, okay. They survived. Okay, they survived. Like I felt pretty confident about where Jalen Hurts was putting the football, and there wasn't one instance where there was some errant throws, but nothing that should have been intercepted. Like, oh, nothing where I had to go, oh, Jalen was lucky on that one, you know? No, felt great. The fact that he didn't turn the football over, the fact that it did take a minute longer than I thought it would, not that I was ever concerned, with him and A.J. Brown to get on the same page. A.J. Brown talked about it after the game, about how he and Jalen Hurts needed to, have that actual game speed together again. So that's the second thing I take away from this game. Number 3, Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis. I was really hoping that coming out of the bye week, these guys would send some kind of message. And watching them at least play yesterday and get Deshaun Watson out of the pocket from time to time, help get after it in the backfield. They weren't phenomenal, but I'll use the word again, baby steps. I didn't see them continuously get blown off the ball like I have in 3 of the first 4 games. I saw them hold their position. They allowed guys like Brandon Graham to get off the edge and either get a tackle for loss or Zach Bond do his job to get into the backfield to disrupt things. Josh Sweat got back there as well. If you have those guys as a solid anchor, they don't need to fill up the stat sheet with incredible numbers or anything like that. But for crying out loud, Bryce Huff got credited with a half a sack. Like when you looked at Bryce Huff's name on the box score, it went, you look to the right of it and you go, oh, look, it's not all zeros. It was 2 tackles, one solo tackle, and half a sack. A lot of that starts with the push in the middle, and it starts with Jalen Carter, and it starts with Jordan Davis. Something you can absolutely take away from this game and go, all right, let's talk about baby steps forward. These guys are taking the baby steps forward, so keep it going with that. Where am I at here? 3. Excuse me, the 4th thing I'm looking at. Cooper DeJean, Jalen Hurts, defensive tackles. Number 4. Nick Sirianni and this offense. The slow starts. I referenced it already. When talking about slow starts, we're talking about the offense. Brandon Lee Gowton put this together. Eagles opening drive so far this season. 3 plays for -5 yards with an interception. That, of course, is how they started the season against the Packers. Week 2, 4 plays, 19 yards, punt. Week 3, 3 plays, -9 yards, punt. Week 4, 3 plays, 2 yards, punt. Week 5, 3 plays, 5 yards, punt. You want to know how you're not getting it done coaching wise? You want to know how that's happening? As a game planner and a play caller, with which apparently Nick Sirianni has his hands in both. Still, as a play caller and a game planner, your fingerprints are never more on the game than in the first 15 plays, probably first drive of the game, right? And this is what you got going on? This is pathetic. This is absolutely pathetic. Still no points in the first quarter this season. And the Eagles were driving to eventually get 3 points in the first quarter. They eventually had a 14-play, 58-yard, 6-minute, 48-second drive that amounted to a 49-yard field goal. It wasn't even like they got deep into the red. Like they didn't even have a play in the red zone. So what, the third quarter? The game in the game, I believe it was, and that was the Browns. Like this game ain't a brag, unfortunately. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. Is always what people want to say. We just certainly heard that a lot with the Phillies and Nick Castellanos and all that. But the idea of we're working on it and we'll get it figured out, well, excuse me if I don't have a lot of confidence that you're going to have these games where you could break out of the gate eventually, bust out of the gates eventually, and actually make you feel like, oh, Eagles got this. And you know what would help you feel like that? You know, like a 14-play drive to open up the game that ends up in a touchdown. That's in your first possession. And you had the first possession of this game. You received coming out of, or should be out of the coin toss there. The slow starts are a thing that absolutely has to go. Number 5 on this list, special teams. Myles Garrett's a freak. He's going to do stuff that disrupts a lot. And he certainly did it on that blocked field goal. And I like Cooper DeJean. I don't understand how he fields the ball at the 5-yard line. And I like everything he did as far as, nickel corner. I've talked about that enough. But overall special teams, taking a ball at I think it was on the 7-yard line, not letting it go into the end zone for whatever reason. Small return, giving the rest of the field for the Eagles to go out there and do their thing. And that, unfortunately, didn't come out good. The blocked field goal, everything seemed to break down on that one. And I'm sure you noticed this because the laces might as well be a highlighter, okay, on that pigskin. Laces out, Braden, man. Laces out. What is going on here? Laces out, man. That was I never felt good flow from the Eagles special teams unit. And in this type of game, it would have looked a lot different if the Eagles won this game 20-9 as opposed to 20-16. Defense did a great job holding the field goals, keeping them out of the end zone and all that stuff. Special teams makes this game seem like it was a lot closer than it was. The bottom line, again, is 4 points is what made this team different. Honorable mention. You know how I always like to say numbers never lie, but they sure as hell can deceive? Nakobe Dean led the team in tackles. And Nakobe Dean on the box score looks like he had himself a nice game. And he did. He had a nice game. But I am continually getting concerned because I talk about these things a lot, especially with young players. And I'll be optimistic about a young player. And I'll talk about a player going out there and making mistakes as a young, inexperienced player and saying, okay, I'll take those mistakes from a young, inexperienced player, thinking they'll learn from it and they'll get better. The blocking, or the block shedding, rather, with Nakobe Dean is damn near non-existent. And he gets taken out of a play rather easily. And if you're getting a good push up front, yeah, he can get in the backfield. If he's got a straight shot to the outside, yeah, he can get there. And I know you can look at 12 tackles. You can look at 7 of them as solo. There's a lot. And you look at that and go, oh, damn, all right, way to be. That's how a middle linebacker, those are the numbers a middle linebacker is supposed to get. Well, that's fine. But when we start playing against some of those upper echelon teams, which is how I grade every single game, Jalen Hurts refers to it as the standard. Did you play to the standard? The standard being set right now by Nakobe Dean is not a good one. And easily being taken out of plays, that ain't great. And that's something that he absolutely needs to be working on. And I listened to Nick Sirianni last week talk about how the Eagles linebackers, they talk about improving on block destruction. Remember talking about that last week? Block destruction. I didn't see a lot of blocks being destructed. I saw a lot of blocks being taken and a lot of Nakobe Dean being taken out of the play. 12 tackles, 7 solo is how that one worked out yesterday. I am a little surprised. I just pulled up the box score. I am a little surprised. I got to go back and watch this. The Eagles still got credited for 5 sacks yesterday. I thought that first sack of the game where was the second sack of the game? Where Deshaun Watson was breaking to the outside. I thought he got like 1 yard on that, but maybe not. Maybe the line was just off on the field because, as you know, the yellow line, the unofficial yellow line is unofficial, as I like to say. But those are the things that jumped out at me in this game, and definitely want to see improved block shedding by Nakobe Dean. Zach Bond, I thought he played himself a good game, though the stat sheet doesn't highlight it as much as you saw from Nakobe Dean. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson actually broke up 2 passes, so that was good to see. The one, oh my goodness gracious. The deep throw to the right side of the field, Quenyon Mitchell was right there for the interception, and Chauncey Gardner-Johnson broke it up. It was wild, by the way, to see Quenyon Mitchell react in the way that he did. I'm sure he's upset that his first career interception was right there for the taking, and it didn't happen. But to see him react the way he did, as if, and we could agree with this, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson really screwed him over. I thought that reaction was telling, to say the least. Very telling. But the kid's a stud. Quenyon Mitchell is an absolute stud. Seth Turner called him the truth. I think that's a good word for it. Nolan Smith came up with a sack. Josh Sweat came up with a sack. Bryce Huff, again, a half sack, as well as Milton Williams and Thomas Booker the fourth. Thomas Booker the fourth player. Like that guy. Little opportunity, taking advantage of every ounce of it. So that's good to see. As far as what went down after the game, goodness gracious, take a listen to this. Nick Sirianni, of course, was caught going back and forth with fans. And here's what he had to say about it.
No, just excited. Just excited to get the win. Just excited to get the win. Yeah. It's hard to win in this league, so we're excited to get the win. Our fans created a couple false starts that really helped us win this football game. But just excited to get the win and appreciate the Lynx support.
Sarcastic. That was sarcastic. No doubt in my mind, sarcastic. That was hard. I'll be laid on thick. So when this comes out eventually, because everything always comes out, when this comes out eventually, what was being said there, and what I was saying, what they were saying, and what we were going back and forth with, I was to say how great the Link was. Link, they got a couple of false start penalties. There you go, Link. Don't buy it for a second. Don't buy it for a second. Yeah. It's very frustrating. Because like I didn't want Nick Sirianni here after last year. I thought, well, I don't need to lay it out there again, but I just didn't. I fired Nick Sirianni at the end of last year. Unfortunately, the Eagles did it. I fired Nick Sirianni at the bye week. Unfortunately, the Eagles did it. Nick Sirianni was really feeling himself after beating the Browns by 4 points. I'll say it again. But that emotion from Nick Sirianni, he says it comes from his players.
I was having fun, and I kind of got some feedback from the guys. Is the sense of like, we need you back, Nick. We need your energy. We need your focus. We need your I've gotten that from a couple players, and when I'm operating and having fun, I think that breeds to the rest of the football team. If I want the guys to celebrate and be themselves after big plays, then I should probably do that myself, right?
I think so. The players are probably like, Nick, we don't know what else you do here, so why don't you go ahead and just cheer really loud for us and really jump up and down and have yourself some fun and talk to guys like Rodney McLeod, for instance. Talk to the fans. We want to see that from you. It gave me vibes. Not that this was nearly as big a win, but it gave me vibes of walking off the field against the Kansas City Chiefs. See ya. Like, yeah, fine. Yell that at the people at Arrowhead. All right, man. But the NFL, your own fan base? Nah, that ain't cool. Like, again, here's 2 things that everyone should remember. Any athlete, coach, executive, whatever that works in Philadelphia, you always remember this. The fans are always right. You're never right. They're always right. And they can do pretty much whatever the hell they want. The only thing is, and Andy Reid, Nick Sirianni reminded me of Andy Reid a little bit, because when fans would get on the Eagles in the Andy Reid era, Andy just had a line, man. He said this line. It was like it was an easy line to memorize, but Andy always just said, well, that's the greatest fans in the NFL. I'm sorry. That's the greatest fans in the National Football League. And whenever he had a chance to talk about the home field advantage, he'd always say to play in front of the greatest fans in the National Football League. No matter what. Always what he went with. Take note, Nick Sirianni, on that. I never thought I'd use Andy Reid as a model for how to handle any question at any press conference, but that's a good one to memorize. As far as the slow starts go, as you would assume, he was asked this a couple of different times. Now, keep in mind, these numbers again from Brandon Lee Gouton of Bleeding Green Nation. All right, those are the numbers right there. They're not good. But Nick Sirianni says, we got this.
I guess that means we didn't work at all in it. Because y'all are making a big deal about it. I mean, it's like, guys, we're gonna figure it out. We're gonna fix it. We've known how to score in the past. Like, we get it. You guys have a job to do, and you're gonna fixate on one thing, and you're gonna be like, oh, they haven't started fast, or they haven't turned the ball over. Like, we got it. Like, we're gonna do everything we can do to fix it. Like, and I don't want that to be in their heads. That's why I'm basically telling you guys, all right, we got it. We'll figure it out. And so sometimes you get things in your head, and you continue, and it kind of works there, but like the defense started their off. The defense started their. It was 10-0 to start the football game off, and the defense didn't let up a play, and so they played their. So they started fast, right? And we'll get it figured out on offense. We will get it figured out on offense. Do you think that was funny?
Let me just weigh this in. I don't like his kids sitting up there. I will say this, though, as when you're an NFL coach and you're always seemingly away from your family, get that family time, fine. It doesn't mean I have to like it. But his 3 kids were sitting up there with him, and he's talking about the offense getting the slow starts again. Like, the media is not making this up, Nick. This is a problem. Your fingerprints, and Kellen Moore's fingerprints, not to leave him out of this, are never more on the game than the first scripted 15 plays. Never more on the game. You had a week to prepare, and this is what you came up with? Oh, man, that sucks. Terrible. Absolutely god-awful the way this team has started out. This offense, to be more specific. This isn't something the media is just clinging on to. This isn't something that the media is just like, oh God, what's terrible here? Oh, well, the slow start. No, that's an important thing. And the players are expressing concern, yet confident that they'll figure it out eventually. Because what else do you want them to say? Yep, we're just not going to score in the fourth or the first quarter of games. Because what's the point? I'm not going to say that. And then finally, Nick Sirianni revealed some interesting stuff about play calling, especially when it came to the 3rd and 1 play call at the end of the second quarter. The way that one went, Eagles found themselves 3rd and 1 from the Cleveland 31-yard line. They ended up going for the field goal of 57 yards. Would have been a little bit closer. 49 yards, because I'm good at math. If Jalen Hurts wasn't sacked for 8 yards on the 3rd and 1. Nick Sirianni revealed who called that play and a little bit more.
I'll say this. I made the call on 3rd and 1. Nobody else but me. And, like I said to you, sometimes I did that on defense one time as well. Made a call on defense. That didn't work out, just so you know. I'll put that out there. That wasn't on Vic. I won't tell you which play. But I'm going to do that from time to time. This time it didn't work. And so that's not nobody else but me.
I wanted to make – I heard the part about the 3rd and 1. He called the play call. Did he say something else? Let's listen to this clip one more time while I enjoy a nice sip of ice cold water.
I'll say this. I made the call on 3rd and 1. Nobody else but me. Like I said to you, sometimes I did that on defense one time as well. Made a call on defense.
What was that? You commit defense? You're touching the defense now? What? Please stay away from the defense. I know a lot of people probably don't like Vic Fangio at all, but the defense was great yesterday. Nick, do less, please and thank you. And while we're at it, please grow your hair back. I don't need more text messages on Sundays about how you and I have a strong resemblance and how people say, oh, your little brother Nick. I'm like, little brother, he's older than me by 1 year. Ridiculous. Hey, download the Game Time app to your phone, create an account, use promo code Farzy. Use promo code Farzy and get $20 off your first purchase. Don't forget to use Game Time Picks, which filters out all the fluff on the Game Time app. Take advantage of all they have to offer on the Game Time app. Use promo code Farzy and get $20 off your first purchase on the Game Time app. Download the Game Time app to your phone. Terms apply. What time is it? Game time. How about PHL Sports Nation, Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs. That's phlsportsnation.com. Let's get into the chat check. I want to see what you guys are saying. I'm going to run through this. Eagles fan, time to start asking your parents questions about Sirianni Farzy. Yep, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Oh, wow. The chat is popping off today. Sean Gillespie. Hello, Sean Gillespie. I'm happy we won, but unimpressed with the offense. Yeah, that's how I feel. Hey, good morning, Babs, Farzy, it's sad to see that Hurts is mediocre and he is what he is and he's not. Here's the way I feel about this game. The best way I think I could sum up this game is this. The Eagles, before this game, I thought were a one-and-done playoff team. After this game, I feel like the Eagles are a one-and-done playoff team. Like, this game didn't move the needle for me at all. I don't think the Giants are very good. I don't think the Eagles are going to win the division. I think they could be a wild card team. But I don't see them all of a sudden figuring it out to the point where, like, oh, they're a juggernaut. No, don't see that. Do the Eagles know they have Saquon Barkley on the team? Yeah, right. Muted growl. Defense got bailed. Right? Go Sixers. They suck, Farzy. Let's see. Sean Kilrain, what's up? April, hello. Oh, my goodness gracious. Oh, my goodness gracious. I got to listen to this one more time. Hold on.
I'll say this. I made the call on 3rd and 1. Nobody else but me. Like I said to you, sometimes I did that on defense one time as well. Made a call on defense. That didn't work out, just so you know. I'll put that out there. That wasn't on Vic. I won't tell you which play. But I'm going to do that from time to time. This time it didn't work.
Good God. Good God. I don't know what we're doing with that guy, but that's what we're doing with him. It's unfortunate, but that's what's happening. What an unlikable little baby. You guys nailed it in the chat as per usual. Thanks, everybody in the chat. I am doing a radio hit with my friend Chris DeGaulle coming up in just a second. Don't miss that. Then after that, I'll be on with our friends at Fox 29. So I look forward to doing all that and more with you guys. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. My name is Mark Farzetta. Be back with you guys tomorrow for another fun-filled, exciting breakdown of the Birds. See you guys then.